Hello dear students, so now we would move ahead in this chapter number 3 of class 7 science, that is Fibre to Fabric. So from today we are going to start the process of obtaining wool from the fiber. Okay, so those processes we would start from today. Okay, how to obtain the wool from the fiber. Okay, now before this let me tell you about the sheep here. Let's say this is the sheep. Let's say this is the sheep. Okay, now you would find out the hair on the skin of the sheep. Okay, so these hair are of two types. The hair which are on the skin of the sheep are of two types. Some are their coarse hair and some are fine hair. There are two types of hair on the skin of the sheep here. Okay, so whenever we are talking about the wool, so the wool is obtained from the fine hair. Okay, not from the coarse hair, that you have to remember. Okay, the wool that we are getting, is obtained from the fine hair, not from the coarse hair. Are you getting this? Very good. Okay, so most of the sheep have both types of hair. Okay, and some have the fine hairs only, fine hair only, and some of the sheep are having coarse hair. Okay, and some of the sheep are having both types of hair on their skin. Okay, some are having both types of hair on their skin. Some are having only the fine hair and some are having only the coarse hair on their skin. Okay, now the now this is known as the fleece of the sheep. Fleece means what? Fleece means the hair, like the coarse hair and the fine hair that are close to the skin, what we do, we just shave it off. Okay, okay, to get the coarse hair and the fine hair, we just shave off the fleece of the sheep. Okay, then after the other processes we are starting after that. So the first process is to obtain the fleece of the sheep. So what is this fleece? Fleece means the hairy skin. The hair means that are like coarse hair and the fine hair that are close to the skin, we just shave it off and we are getting the fleece of the sheep here. Okay, are you getting this? Yes, later you will write it. First let's understand this. Okay, so to obtain the wool, the first step is to obtain the fleece of the sheep here. Okay, now when we are talking about the rearing and the breeding of the sheep, rearing and now we are talking about rearing and breeding of sheep, means where do we rear the sheep? Okay, so the sheeps are reared basically in the hilly areas as well as in the plain areas also. Like if you see, the sheeps are reared in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, and then in the plain areas just like Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat. So these are the areas where the sheeps are reared. Are you getting this? Okay, so before now we would move ahead. Before this, whatever I have taught, that I would write here and you have to write this in your notebook. So this you have to write. Okay, so at first, the first step to obtain the wool from the fiber is to shave off the fleece of the sheep. Okay, so the fine hair are used to obtain the wool, because the wool is obtained from the fine hair. Okay, and if we are talking about the rearing and the breeding of the sheep, so the sheep are reared in the areas of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and in some plain areas also like Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, and Gujarat. So these are the areas where the sheep are reared. Okay, and now we would talk about the variety of sheep. Okay, because as I have already told you that some of the sheeps are having the coarse hair, some are having the fine hair, and the fine hair are used to get the wool, to obtain the wool. So we obtain the wool from the fine hair. Okay, so there, on the basis of this, there are different varieties of the sheeps. Okay, like the first one, variety that you write down. Okay, so from here I'm just telling the first variety. Now we would talk about the variety of the sheeps. Okay, the first variety, if I are talking about the first variety, before this you note it down. Okay, let me erase this. So now we are talking about the sheep varieties. Okay, so different variety of sheep from which we are getting the fine wool, coarse wool, etc. Okay, so now the first one is the lohi. So from which we are getting a good quality wool. So the lohi sheep is reared in the areas of Rajasthan and Punjab. And the second one is the Rampur Busher. So we are getting the brown fleece. Okay, brown hair like. So brown fleece we are getting from the Rampur Busher, are reared in Uttar Pradesh and Himachal Pradesh. Then third one is the Nali. So from Nali variety of sheep we are getting coarse wool from that. Okay, and we are rearing this in Rajasthan, Haryana and Punjab. Then we have the Marwari, that from which we are getting the coarse wool, reared in Gujarat. Then we have Patanwari, so from which again we are getting the some fine wool also. Okay, and are reared in Gujarat. Now you have two tribes also. These are the two tribes. We call them as the tribes. Okay, nomadic tribes. These are basically the nomadic tribes. Okay, like Bakarwal and the Gadis. So Bakarwal and the Gadis, these are not the variety of sheep, rather they are the tribes. Okay, they are the tribes which are not living at a place, rather they are nomadic. Means sometimes they are let's say these are living in the hilly areas like here. Okay, so sometimes they are coming down in the lowland, sometimes they are again going move to the highland based on the season. Okay, based on the season they are moving down and then coming back to their highlands. Okay, so sometimes they are coming to the lowlands, then again they are going back to the highlands. So this process of going down and coming up is called as the transhumans. This process is called as transhumans. So this process is transhumans. So during this process they carry the animals along with them also, most commonly the sheep. Okay, so they carry the animals along with them, so because they thrive through the process of the transhumans. Okay, they thrive through the process of transhumans. Sometimes they are coming down, sometimes they are going back to the highlands. So this process is termed as the transhumans. Okay, so during this process they carry along with them various types of animals, and most commonly the sheep there. So they are rearing the sheep also. Okay, so these are basically the tribes, Bakarwal and the Gadis. So they are also rearing the sheep from which we are getting the woolen shawl. They are special kind of fiber we are getting from there. So from which we are just making the woolen shawl. Especially the Bakarwal tribe is famous in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, this in hill areas of you can say in Himachal and this Uttarakhand also. Okay, then you have another tribe, that is Gadis. So Gadis, it is in Himachal Pradesh. Okay, so these two are the nomadic tribes here. Okay, so now that's all for today. We'll be discussing some more like the first process we are going through the first process, like rearing, how to get the wool from the fiber. So the first process is just shaving off the fleece of the sheep. That is the first process that we have talked today. Would we discuss some other processes in the upcoming videos? Till then, stay tuned and keep watching. Thank you. Have a good day.